Guys, it's Audra and welcome back to 365 Projects. I am here today with a check-in for my Book of the Month book. Now this will be a check-in for week 2. I'm going to leave all the videos in this series down below so you can check out like the introduction and when I picked out my first week of books, which was The Perfect Mother and The Broken Girls. The second video is what I thought of those books, and then when I picked this last week of books, which was The Power and As Bright as Heaven. So let's get into my thoughts on these two books because I just finished these this morning actually. This one I finished early this morning and started another book. So the one that took me the longest to read, it took me from like Monday to Friday, was The Power by Naomi Alderman. This one is a book, like it's a dystopian about women having the power of electricity to control men essentially, and it takes a course of 10 years and how this progresses and how it changes their society in this dystopian. And yeah, it was an interesting read. I can see why people like it. It's different. I find it interesting that this is like Barack Obama's favorite book from last year because there is a lot of conversation about like government corruption and how all that goes down. Overall, I gave this a 3. It was an okay book. It's not one that's going to stick with me. I honestly can't remember now, a few days later, how it ended. Just some things to be aware of. I did not know that this, as a Christian, like, it's kind of like turns Christianity on its head of like Jesus being a woman and like everything is now flipped to be female. They flip scriptures. So I don't know. There was a point where I was like, this is kind of sacrilegious, and then I suspended that because I knew I was just reading it for this book. But it kept kind of popping out in my head every now and then. So that would be something to be aware of if that bothers you. It doesn't really bother me, but it's just a side note because I didn't know that going into it that basically they would turn this woman into Eve, and she'd basically be like the new god of this society. There is also I would say trigger warnings for rape. I do not like to read about it in detail. Like, I get it, like, it happens in books, and it's kind of a plot device sometimes to, like, deliver, like, inner struggles or whatnot, but there's some detailed stuff going on in here, and it just made me uncomfortable, but like I said, overall, story is 3. It's a great idea. It's interesting to see what the society would be like if women literally had the power to control men and how that would change our society because, yeah, it kind of flipped it on its head. And it was an alright read. I don't know if I would read another book from this author, but I did get that one done. And the next one I finished, I read As Bright as Heaven. I listened to all this on an audiobook over the weekend, kind of here and there, as my parents were in town. This is told in 4 points of view. You have the mom, Pauline, and then her daughters, Evelyn, Maggie, and Willa, and it's all from their point of view. It's set in World War I, and it's when the Spanish flu hits. And so this family, she decides that after the death of her infant son, Henry, at like 6 months old, she wants to move and go help her husband's uncle with his funeral business, which is interesting. So they move into the house like where all this is happening, and so she can kind of face death head on again, and it's their adjustment to this. There is a little paranormal stuff that goes on with that, and then the Spanish flu hits, and everything just is kind of goes into chaos with that and World War I. Once again, I gave this 3 stars. I felt like it was an okay story. None of it really sticks out to me. I did enjoy the different points of view, and you could definitely tell the age of each girl and kind of like where they fell with their love interests and just their friendships. So you had that going on too. But it was a great historical fiction if you are interested in those kind of books. So before I share which books we have left for the month to choose from, I did get 2 more from this month's Book of the Month choices, and I picked up, of course, The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. This is the second book by this author, and I've already read Final Girls this year. This is about a girl, she goes to like a camp, and all of a sudden, like 4 of her friends, they like leave in the middle of the night, and she sees them go out the door, and then they disappear. And so I think it's like 10 or 15 years later, she goes back to this camp trying to figure out what happens. So this is going to be a thriller, obviously, if you can't tell by the cover. And then I also picked up Ghosted by Rosie Walsh. This is a story of a woman named Sarah and her boyfriend Eddie, and they kind of have like this whirlwind romance, and then he goes on vacation and he's like never to be heard of again, so she is ghosted. And so those are two choices to add to my pile of books for this week. Now what I'm going to do is actually take stickers that were on the back, the numbers. So 13 was the power, now it is Last Time I Lied. And then As Bright as Heaven was number 10, and now that will be Ghosted. And so I can add those to the books for Siri to choose from. I will say, I'm so upset with myself, I did not get the book Summer Wives that was authored this month, because the author is coming here, like, just like less than a mile down the road from me, like for a free talk at the library, like next Monday. And so I'm gonna have to buy it at like full price so I can get her to sign it, because I'm definitely gonna go. Why wouldn't I? So I'm kind of mad at myself that I didn't pick it up for an extra $10, because now I'm gonna have to spend 30. But oh well. So these are two choices for this week. I also have The Last Equation of Isaac Severy. We have Rainbirds, Missing Presumed, Still Lives, Red Clocks, Little Fires Everywhere, I Let You Go, it's a smaller one, All the Ugly and Wonderful Things, and Sharp Objects. I will say, I did kind of make the executive decision for audiobook this week. I'm going to do The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I'm using it for my biannual Bibliothon challenge of a book from somebody else's TBR. I'm going to link that stuff down below too if you want to check it out. So one pick is already done. So I need to just have Siri pick a number, and we will see which book of those I'm reading for this week, in addition to all my books from the biannual Bibliothon. Unless one of these books can count as one of those challenges, and then I won't have to worry about adding another book, because I've already got like 5 or 6 on my list for this week. And I gotta get other stuff done, obviously, because life. But here we go. Hey Siri.
I'm listening.
Pick a number between 1 and 13.
It's 5.
Okay, see it? Oh, there goes number 5. So, let's see what it is. 3, 8, 1, 9, 12, 4, 2, good grief. The number fell off of this one, so that's interesting. 5, The Last Equation of Isaac Severy. Oh boy. Okay, so this is about a guy who is a mathematician. He leaves like his best work like in a scavenger hunt or something for his adopted granddaughter to find. So, not too excited about that one, but we'll get through. I am excited about The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, so maybe that will make up for this. I don't have this on audiobook either, so let me go look through my list of books for biannual Bibliothon and see if I can use any of those spots for this one. I'll be right back. I'm just going to walk through all of it so I can kind of talk myself through this to see if this makes any sense. So the first challenge was the group book Wicked Deep. I've already read that, so I'm bypassing that one. The second one was someone else's TBR. I am reading this one, which is one of our Book of the Month books, so that's okay. The third challenge, to try a chapter, I had chosen this one for the middle grade books. 4 was TBR over a year. Did Alice Network. This hasn't even been out a full year. This came out in March. Predicted 5-star was this one, which that was a flop. Own Voices. I have this one picked out, and this one wouldn't be an Own Voices. And then the last book you bought, well, I didn't just buy that one. I have this one picked out. So, it doesn't work for any of the challenges that I can see, except what I'm going to do is actually combine 2 challenges and add a different book to make room for this one. So I'm going to combine the Own Voices challenge and the Try a Chapter challenge and replace it with this one that counts for both, because I use this in the Try a Chapter. This is one I wanted to read also, and it is written as a Chinese immigrant author about a Chinese immigrant child. Her parents run a hotel. They hide immigrants. So I am excited to read this one. I really want to read this one. It's going to take the place of these two so that maybe I can also get to this one this week for like the weekend after the biennial bibliothon is over, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, moving on. These two are the books I'll be reading for my Book of the Month picks for this week. I will check back in Monday. Let me know what you've been reading lately, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.